Ohio. We're high on Ohio. These stories inform and inspire through the words of people who make Ohio home. Good news and good ideas, identifying and acknowledging the excellence that is all around us. Hi, this is Gene Krebs. I'm here today on behalf of the Center for Community Solutions as we go around the state and interview thought leaders to help us understand how the state works and how the state could work better, because basically we are high on Ohio. Today I'm joined by Lisa Hamler-Fugitt, who is the Executive Director of the Ohio Association of Foodbanks. Lisa?
Good to see you, Gene.
Thank you very much for coming on. So I've known you for almost a quarter century, but I'm not quite sure how you fetched up into this position. And as we go around, one of the things we're asking, because the youth so often do not understand or know how people got to be in their position of power and influence. How did you get to be in this position where every governor has to basically check in with you before they do some legislation on food banks?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. My path was very different from most people that work in and around government. I came from a banking background. I had restructured international debt for a regional bank. In fact, helped bring Honda to Ohio in their letters of credit. And I need to tell you that as I saw corporate profits soar, but workers' benefits and wages begin to stagnate, I made a decision that I could either stay and be a part of the problem, or I could leave and be a part of the solution. And fortunately, I came into the advocacy community and into anti-hunger and anti-poverty work. And that's how we first met, working on welfare reform, the precursor to the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act. We were attempting to get support and buy-in from the state, because most people don't know that with welfare reform, over half of those cuts that were achieved came directly out of the food stamp program, the first line of defense against hunger. And I remember meeting with you, and you listened very
could be very bad.
very attentively to me, and you made it very clear that you were a farmer. And at the end of the meeting, you proclaimed, Lisa, we can end hunger in our state by getting all of the farmers to plant their inrows in corn.
Yeah. I remember that.
I'm sorry, because whenever I talk about you, I always share that. Right.
Yeah, and that's because when my wife and I were raising our family, we would plant our inrows in corn, and 1 acre of corn produces 21,000 ears of corn. Mm-hmm. And we had corn in absolutely everything. And I still think, and you're starting to see it now, though it's surprising how the thing has turned now. You're now starting to see farmers now increasingly donate excess produce and stuff like that, and everything like that.
And that interaction then developed into a 16-year partnership where the General Assembly, the governor, then link resources to Ohio farmers, growers, and commodity producers, to Ohio's 12 food banks and 3,300 member charities, where we can go in and capture surplus or unmarketable agricultural products, 40 different varieties of fruits and vegetables, that we are able to reimburse farmers, growers, and commodity producers pennies on the pound to cover a portion of their production cost, to clear that and get it into the Emergency Food Assistance Network and onto the plates of hungry Ohioans.
You know, it's interesting. You once again, I'll go back to and say this again. Every governor who wants to do something about hunger eventually has to check in with you. You are such an advocate. So what we're talking about here is outside the box thinking. And how has outside the box thinking, does it take a while for it to move forward, and you kind of propose it and everybody kind of steps back and they look at it? So how's that working for you here?
The first thing I want to say is that Ohio is unique. In the decades since I've been doing this work and food banks have been around, we're relatively new on the scene of social service organizations coming and developing in the 70s, that hunger has never been a partisan issue.
Okay.
And I think to have the luxury of working on an issue where we might not agree from a philosophical standpoint or ideology, people understand hunger. So at least we have a common ground at which to start a conversation. We approach our work as being solutions-oriented people, and doesn't matter where you're at on the political spectrum, whether you are to the far right, to the far left, or somewhere in the middle. People need solutions. There's a lot of complaining that's done.
Yeah.
But we need to get in there, we need to find common ground, we need to roll up our sleeves and come up with the solutions that are going to have meaningful impact on the state of Ohio as well as our citizens.